In the real world, nothing comes for free. In the real world, there are no free rides, no telephone calls, no free meals. But if you're a member of parliament in India, it's a totally different story. On paper, MP salaries have been raised to 50,000 rupees a month, a 300% hike. That's 6 lakhs rupees a year. But throw in the mix of free business class flights, accommodation, electricity, telephone calls, assistance, constituency allowance, DA, and all of that together, and the cost to the nation of an MP is 5 lakh rupees a month. That's 60 lakh rupees a year, not 6 lakh rupees a year. And apart from the basic salary, it's all tax-free. I'm not including medical benefits and pension benefits, which are usually included in some calculations of cost to company. But that's not the point tonight. This 300% hike for members of parliament is not enough. They want 500%. That's the big debate tonight. I am joined tonight by Abhishek Singhvi, Rajya Sabha MP, one of India's most eminent lawyers, Congress spokesperson. I'm also joined by the eminent Rahul Bajaj, member of parliament and very respected industrialist. I'm joined by Shankar Prasad, who is former DGMO of the Indian Army, and Captain Sidhu, who joins me tonight from Chandigarh, is known to many of our viewers as the war veteran who, out of sheer frustration, burnt his artificial limbs at India Gate 4 to 4.5 years back because he had not been paid his basic dues by the government of India. Captain Sidhu, welcome. Rahul Bajaj, my first question is for you. Now, you're not exactly impoverished, Mr. Rahul Bajaj, but in real terms, in your company, who would you give a 500% hike or a 300% hike?
The question is a little misleading, Arnab. When you talk about 300 or 500% hike, which of course looks outrageous, it depends on what. If somebody is getting already, let's say, 1 crore rupees, it's one situation. If you're getting what you should be getting, as most people are getting, then they get 10 to 12% per annum each year.
Yeah.
But if you're getting much lower than what others are getting, and at the moment we're talking of salaries, we'll come to the total cost, 40 lakhs a year, 60 lakhs a year, and I'm no longer an MP, so I don't benefit by that. I was an MP. 16,000 is whose salary in organized sector in India today?
It's not 16,000.
Private sector.
Mr. Bajaj, I contest the 16,000 figure. I contest the 16,000 figure.
No, I'm talking, I repeat, you cannot contest or not the salary figure of 16, or it's actually an honorarium of 16. You are talking of free rail fare, you are talking of airfare, you are talking of 1,000 rupees DA, you are talking of constituency allowance. I've got all that. I used to get all that.
I'm talking what in Hindi is called roti, kapda, makan. Basic salary 50,000, airfare 2 lakh rupees, rent on an average, on a conservative estimate, if you stay in Lutyens, Delhi, 1.5 lakh rupees, TADA 12,000, electricity and telephone 50,000, they want more, constituency allowance 20,000, others 18,000, monthly cost to the nation 5 lakh rupees, medical and pension extra.
You can count all that.
Medical and pension extra. Now I don't have a grouse against that pay, but I'm putting the facts on the table.
Yes, Rahul Bajaj's company for the top people pays even 2-3 crore rupees every year. Are you hearing me?
No.
Can I talk or?
I'm sure it's linked to their performance. I'm sure it's linked to their performance.
That is the point. People are unhappy, people are angry because they have a perception, partly correct, that a lot of MPs do not work, they make black money, they are not honest, etc., etc. That view is something which partly, I'm not saying it's fully right, but partly is correct, and that's where the problem comes. Then you say what you are already getting is already overpaid. You are already overpaid.
No, my point is also broader.
Yes, go ahead, Arnab.
No. My point, Mr. Bajaj, and I want to actually get Mr. Dr. Singhvi to come. I'm just coming back to you, Mr. Bajaj. My question to Abhishek Singhvi is this: Abhishek Singhvi, there's something wrong about standing in judgment. You are such an eminent lawyer. You can't be, standing in judgment of your own salary. It happens nowhere in the world. It doesn't happen for army officers. There's one army officer on the pay commission. There are others who are from different services. Now, on Monday, no, 1 minute, Dr. Singhvi, let me complete. On Monday, your government was against the hike. On Thursday, it was all for the hike. I find it strange in a country where, say, army officers are fighting for years upon years for one rank, one pay, but MPs in 3 days seems to resolve their own issue. Why?
Arnab, you have to decide whether you want to have a sensationalism and an emotional thing or a logical debate where some relevant facts will come.
Purely logical.
Let's not just exaggerate. Number two, I actually agree with the sentiment expressed by you on many of the issues. Arnab, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're loud and clear, sir. Go on.
Yes. I can sympathize and agree also partly with many of the sentiments you've expressed. Let's look at them one by one, and there's a logic to the whole thing. For example, I entirely agree that MPs should have a statutory commission or some kind of a third-party commission to decide this. Actually, a year ago, there was this proposal, and I think it's time we enacted it. I think it's because of the delay that has not being done that this thing happens. They will be able to get proper and even greater increases with more credibility. They should not vote. At the moment, however, they have to vote because the doctrine of necessity. There is no other way because Parliament alone can vote on such things, and Parliament means the MPs themselves. But I agree with you. In due course and very short course of time we should do that. I am certainly going to push for it.
No.
Number two, I think the greatest fallacy in the whole thing is to assume that what you are paying MPs is for what they do in Parliament alone. This is a mistake. This is completely wrong. What they do in those 5-6 hours in Parliament is important, but an MP you have to look holistically, and that balance has to be kept. He has a lot to do in the constituency. Even Rajya Sabha MPs have to do a lot in their states and a lot of attendant things. So don't just limit your view to that one narrow thing.
No.
Thirdly, I am all, for example, there is a dichotomy in MPs. There is a class, and it's not a very large class, of those who are professionals, those who are businessmen, or those who are otherwise well-heeled. I use that phrase generally. I am all, for example, that you might have even a dual system of pay, salary and allowances. There is no reason why professional like me or businessman like Mr. Rahul Bajaj should be paid the same allowances and benefits as other MPs are. But that's not the system. It's not that we are asking for it. It's that the system is like that. But let me tell you, 1 minute. The point I'm making is there is 70% out there or 60% or 80% out there who are MPs, who are people of modest means.
Yeah.
Especially in the Lok Sabha. People of very modest means have come up the hard way.
But
and
sir,
they need support.
No, sir,
next point, Arnab, just give me a second. You are right that there are a lot of allowances. I am sure a lot of MPs are happy to get rid of some of the allowances which are notional and get more hard cash. 16,000 plus the 4 allowances we get, 40,000.
So you are hopping on the 16,000 figure.
A person can establish not 16,000.
No.
I am adding all the monetary allowances.
No.
I am saying there's still no
way. First of all, Dr. Singhvi, Dr. Singhvi, you and Rahul Bajaj are saying, look at the base what we get. Now, why don't we tell that to the army officer or the army jawan? Why don't we tell the jawan today?
One second. Let me answer that.
No. I want Dr. I want the army officer and Captain Sidhu, both of them to come.
Can I answer it half a minute?
No, but my point is
30 seconds.
No, I let them contest you, and then I want you to come back. My point is simple.
You're misquoting us. I didn't say only consider 16,000.
No, you said the base, sir. You said the base is small, so don't
emphasize that's the base figure, but I didn't say that should be, everything should be counted.
Half a second.
No, sir.
Arnab, you are putting words in my mouth.
No, but you must
let me ask a longer question, then allow us to answer.
No, 1 second. Rahul Bajaj, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I wouldn't dare to. Simple point I'm making is, railways had a 21% hike. Teachers in the last sector, pay commission, got a 30% hike. Bureaucrats got a 30% hike. Army, after fighting for years and saying this is how we are being disadvantaged, got some 38% hike. MPs get a 300% hike, want a 500% hike. Now this is too glaring.
No,
it's glaring.
300% is
not on the total amount. That's the whole question. The 50,000 is over 16,000. That's what I'm saying is 300% on 16,000.
Okay.
It's not your 5 lakhs is not becoming 15 lakhs. Your 60 lakhs is not becoming 1 crore 80 lakhs.
Yes.
So please don't mislead people.
Yes, sir, but even a brigadier in the Indian Army.
Wrong kind of politician. In fact, I would suggest by saying the party should pick better people to be members of parliament.
No, but why this?
Who are not corrupt.
No, one second, sir. I'm going to go straight to the general now and then to Captain Sidhu. My logical question is, airlines are bleeding. Indian Airlines is bleeding, taxpayer is paying for the airline. Who is getting 50 free business class tickets after this hike? The MP. Now that's got to be answered. General Shankar Prasad, I want you to come in. You agree with the points being made here?
See, the simple point that I wish to make is that here are a set of people in the society who decide their own pay. Fine, whatever the people are saying, I don't want to fight with them. But here is an army officer, the armed forces, who don't even have a representative on the Sixth Pay Commission. Somebody from the Ministry of Defence goes and represents and puts our case, but there is nobody to represent us on the Sixth Pay Commission. It is but for your channel, and I want to tell you so very clearly that what we have got today, we would not have even got this. After the Sixth Pay Commission gave its verdict, it took nearly a year, by all kinds of media to propagate our case, when finally the government gave us some bit. Here is a case of one rank, one pension which you just mentioned at the beginning of the show. Every political party has supported it. The courts have given a ruling that one rank, one pension should be given. Yet the government has gone back in an appeal to the courts. I can't understand what is the logic. When the floods take place in a country, the army is the first one to be called. When earthquake takes place in Gujarat, the army gets there. When the Commonwealth Games are in trouble, the army is called up. Everybody in the Commonwealth Games who's working there for last 3 years is getting salaries in lakhs. Here is an army set of people who are going to work major in the Commonwealth Games. 20,000 rupees per month to an army officer is being denied. 15,000 or 10,000 rupees to jawans are being denied, saying they must do it free. I can't understand how long this country is going to take the army for granted. Just because you're a disciplined force, just because you're under an army act, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair at all to treat us like this.
It's not only the army. Captain Sidhu, let me get Captain Sidhu in, because Captain Sidhu fought for his basic allowance as a war veteran, and he, 4.5 years back, the whole country stood up in silence when Captain Sidhu and a few other veterans burnt their, I cannot forget the moment when they burnt that artificial limbs outside India Gate. It was a wake-up call. I cannot help but contrast Rahul Bajaj today's, Parliament blockage over a 500% hike to what we saw 4.5 years back. Captain Sidhu.
I think 500 is too less, they should be given 700. The amount of hard work they put in, they disturb Parliament, they shout in the Parliament, the labor they put in, they deserve much more. Look at me. I fought 32 years in the courts and everything to get my dues, and still, even after Honorable Supreme Court has passed in judgment, still I have to go in a contempt of court, they are not paying me. And look at the convenient, how our Honorable Defence Minister comes and make a statement in Parliament, there are 14,000 officers shot in the Indian Armed Forces. Isn't it shameless? Why there are 14? Today our battalions are 50% on strength. It's very good that Manu Singhvi is here today and he is listening to me. Tomorrow you want to fight with Pakistan and you have your 50% strength of officers in the battalions. How you expect your army to fight it out? And when it comes to separate pay commission, army, no separate pay commission. When it comes to one rank and one pension, no, it is not viable because funds are not there. I had last time also told, you please give army one IPL team, we won't ask even pay from you. What is this ridiculous? That our officers, fourth pay commission, the nominees were found. They cheated our officers. And when it was found, Honorable Supreme Court ordered it, double bench ordered it. Instead of paying it, they have gone for review. Those poor fellows, half of them will die by the time case is decided. Is this the way you are treating your armed forces and treat yourself in Parliament? These are the lawmakers. It's a shame on part of the country should wake up.
Dr. Singhvi, this is a sentiment which is not just an emotional and sensational sentiment. It's a sentiment, it will be a compared. Every sector, every professional, every person, MP or army officer or Jawan or anyone on PSU works hard. The percentage will be compared.
Arnab, I don't think there are, I think, very few people who can be more proud of our armed forces than the average member of Parliament. But emotion does take over. We are now talking of two unconnectable things. Let me tell you two examples of why the two are unconnectable. Number one, the fact that you increase MP's salary from the very low figure of 16,000 to what you misleadingly refer to as 300%, which is really from 16,000 base, has nothing to do with a separate malaise. It's a terrible malaise. I agree with 90% of what Professor Mr. Sidhu is saying. It should be rectified, it should be looked into. There is no business for a government not to pay Mr. Sidhu after he won in the Supreme Court. But tell me, why should that impact the increase of salary from 16 to 50?
No, because I'll ask...
About emotion.
No, it's not emotion.
Logically, one minute.
It's not emotion.
Let me now complete. You see, you asked me a question, let me complete. Now, please. A second example. You have... basically the reason why you have this emotion on such programs like yours or such issues is because people believe that, look, MPs at the end of the day are a privileged class. Many of them have much more money than they pretend. They are corrupt. Look, there are probably 20, 30, 40% even, I don't know, persons who are inefficient, who do misgovernance and who may be corrupt. There are the vast majority who are not. By a blanket rule of 16,000 or a blanket rule of 50,000, are you going to cure the corrupt?
Okay.
You must attack the corrupt, punish them, expose them. But how are you going to cure it by underpaying them?
No, I agree with you. Captain Sidhu has a question for you. Yes, Captain Sidhu, go on.
Manu Singhvi, you are an advocate also and you are from the ruling party. Now, the veterans have won the case after 20 years for anomalies which occurred in a fourth pay commission, and Supreme Court double bench has ordered it. Now your government, instead of paying it, when finance minister has already sanctioned it, you have gone for review. Kindly tell your government to withdraw it. That is why you are short of 14,000 officers. And kindly tell your government to withdraw it and pay the veterans. 20% of them have died, rest are on the verge of dying. What the hell is happening in this country?
Arnav, the answer is that we have to look seriously at the legitimate complaints of persons like Captain Sidhu. Certainly, I don't know the facts of this, but I can do everything possible in my power to help that. But does that connect with, and should it connect with, an emotive argument that keep the salaries of MPs?
No,
That's the logic of it. It's an unfortunate thing. It's difficult to keep logic from an OB van in an emotionally surcharged topic. Still the logic remains. I would fight to death for Mr. Captain Sidhu's right, both to his own dues and to the points he is making, but I would equally support largely the increase from 16,000 to 50,000. I find no contradiction between these two themes.
I will debate this, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, devoid of emotion and based on cold, hard fact. And here's a fact for Rahul Bajaj. Rahul Bajaj, here's the fact. This is largest, Rahul Bajaj. You know, when you say 16,000 to 50,000, allow me to complete, okay, I understand. But an MP today and his spouse and his help get unlimited first class AC travel anywhere across India. Besides which they get some 36 round business class trips. Now they have, as part of this lump sum package, why I'm accusing this of largesse is, they say we don't want 36 business, we want 50 business class trips. Now the additional cost of the business class trips to the exchequer is over 3 lakh rupees. So my question is, okay, you say we get a less salary, fine. But what is this luxury of 50 business class airfare, the difference of which is basically the salary of a captain in the Indian Army who will be in Siachen putting his life for the nation. The annual salary of a captain of the Indian Army is the difference between the cost of business class tickets earlier and business class tickets now for our honorable MP. Now that's cold hard fact for you, Rahul Bajaj. Cold hard fact. I'm not talking about basic salary.
Cold or hot facts, Arnav, you have spoken for about 3 minutes. Let me speak for at least an equal amount of time, otherwise the questions are becoming longer than the answers. I'm not even an MP, please bear in mind. I'm not justifying something for the sake of justifying it. I agree with Abhishek at this point that the emotion comes in when you start comparing defense services with MPs.
Why not?
Then we have to compare everybody. What about the per capita income of India? It's $900 a year.
No.
People today, 70%, according to the Arjun Sengupta committee report, 70% of Indians live on 20 rupees a day. So let's not bring that out. That's the problem of our country 60 years after independence. Great country, great growth, but a large number of poor people. So let's not compare this. Question is, I don't have the time to go into it. All over the world you compare, most countries pay their members of parliament more than what we are going to, what the MPs are going to get even after this increase. All that looks funny, it is a fact. 300%. That does look funny because it's 16,000 to 50,000. If it was 80,000, it's 500%. But the total which you are saying, including
60
airfare,
lakhs.
etc., does not become 300%. One. Second, airfares you should only be given, I'm saying it categorically, that's my view, for travelling on parliamentary work between your residence to Delhi and back, and nothing more. If there is 30, 12, 35 trips, fine. Why should they get more? I'm not in favor. Unless they are called to Delhi more, then you can't expect the average MP. It's not Rahul Bajaj, he can afford it. In fact, for your information, Rahul Bajaj in last 10 years, rightly or wrongly, has not gone into a train or a railway. And I did not have the time to recover the airfare from the...
That's because you travel in your private
plane. Relevant because that's... Exactly, I do. I do travel in my private plane, so I'm not the right kind of right example. But the fact remains, may not be many people like me, but there are a large number of people who are not even taking advantage of the whole facilities which are available to them. Question is not that. Question is the bad vibes which come are because of what Abhishek said and what I said earlier. There are some MPs, 10, 20, 30, 40% maybe, are not the right kind of people. But the political parties and the leaders of political parties, and I said leadership in defense services, in the industry, in bureaucracy, in media, in politics, yes, many of us are wrong.
Rahul
We should
Bajaj,
be corrected. And we,
Rahul Bajaj, while many of the points you make, and I think many of the points Abhishek Manu Singhvi makes are extremely reasonable. I'm putting this on record that your views are more reasonable than many of the other MPs or ex-MPs. I disagree on only one point, and I want Shankar Prasad to come on this. Why not a comparison with the army Jawan? When we compare to the army officer, why are we told that's emotional or sensational? Because the IAS officer compares to the army officer. The MP should legitimately allow himself to be compared to an army officer in the percentage terms of the hike an army officer gets. Yeah, both serving the country, you see. Yes, General Prasad.
Absolutely. There has to be some relativity. I mean, what I would like to say, 4 days ago, half the cabinet was against it. Within 4 days, the entire government is supporting it, and it is approved. Here is a set of people in the society who have decided their own thing in 4 days' time. Of course, it's been going on for a year, as Mr. Singhvi says. As Mr. Singhvi rightly said, there should be a special committee to decide their pay and allowances also in relationship to and in conformity with other people in the society, the other civil servants and the armed forces people. What my biggest point today is this, that even a court gives a decision and the government doesn't find it possible to implement it because they don't have the funds to do it. Here is a situation where you're paying such huge amounts to people without even considering for more than 4 days, and here is an army and armed forces which has got a court decision in their favor, yet you're not willing to accept and implement it. Forget about what they're being paid, forget about what we're being paid. No. Where is the justice in this? Mr. Singhvi, can you tell me, where is the justice in denying the armed forces the legitimate thing which the courts have given in their favor? Why is the government not implementing it? You can't say that you're not aware of these facts. These facts are appearing in the newspapers, in the media, day in and day out. The armed forces people have gone and returned the medals to the president, has been making headline news, yet nothing seems to happen. Whereas in the parliament, because some government may fall, because some people may just not vote for a particular motion, we have to change it. I mean, there has got to be some kind of logic to give equal justice to everybody in the society.
Dr. Singhvi, please respond to the points the General made, sir.
The first point is that if there is any court order which is not being implemented by the government, I would stand up for these gentlemen and argue for contempt of court. It's as simple as that. It will get you the relief in 2 days, in 2 weeks. Who is defending it? I am not, nobody can.
The government has gone in.
The point of the matter is, there is no such thing as a government. Let me tell you very clearly.
You have gone into review petition now.
Please let me complete. Please let me complete. What is there in a legitimate part of the legal process, anybody is entitled to invoke. Don't just use the generic word government. There is an individual department, an individual officer who may or may not be acting wrongly. You are entitled to take stern action. You may have a slight delay in the review petition, you get the review petition dismissed. If they do not still implement, you will have a contempt of court order. I fail to understand how, I'm not even supporting it in the least. Therefore, there is no question of linking it with the MP salary point. Secondly, I must put it on record, Arnab, that there is one thing to say that I support partly or largely the increase because I believe that the large number of our MPs are abysmally paid and they need more money. But that is very different from saying, and the Congress certainly does not support, that if you increase by a certain decision from 16 to 50,000, you should disrupt Parliament or have a dharna or have another mock Parliament for the further increase. That is a very different thing. I don't support it.
Absolutely.
I certainly don't support it. I think it's a very bad signal. I think it also makes you feel that on the one hand there is increase, but on the other hand there is drama for a further increase. And to disrupt Parliament, apart from making a protest, is wrong. Number three, I have said in the beginning already that I would strongly support, in fact that was the proposal earlier and I'm sure it will happen in the near future, it's only a bit of a delay, that a statutory commission or an independent commission decides these things. That will give much more credibility.
What's the point? Dr. Singhvi.
No, 1 minute.
Dr. Singhvi, what's the point of a commission after the hike has been given? You then take back the hike.
No,
have a commission, then decide the hike. What's the hurry?
1 minute. These hikes are given every few years because they have to keep pace. So there will be another time in the future when this will be required. But when you start talking that this bureaucracy compared to the defence services, well then this parliamentary committee which has recommended the increase and less than the recommendation has been given, this parliamentary committee also compares the bureaucrats' salaries, the bureaucrats' perks.
Dr. Singhvi.
On that reasoning of yours, with poor India and the large part of India being poor, no secretary of the government of India for the last 60 years should be getting much more than an MP.
Dr.
No
Singhvi.
secretary, no bureaucrat should be doing that.
No, Dr. Singhvi, I only quick rebut you on that and I'll let Rahul Bajaj have the last word. Because when it came to army officers, I'm harping on army officers or any part of the service, there was always process when army men raised their reservation over the 6th pay commission. 2 committees were constituted that included bureaucrats and politicians to look into their grievances. Recommendations were made. There was a process which was followed. High-powered committee was formed. Before that, there was no hike given. But for MPs, hike will be given and then commission will be formed for the next hike. Seems a little, little too generous. Okay, little too elastic.
There is no commission, so there is no commission, so there is no other way except the cabinet deciding and the MPs voting.
Okay.
This is an unfortunate doctrine of necessity because law can't be made without MPs voting even if it's for their own cause.
No, but I really appreciate the point that you made, Dr. Singhvi, that maybe the more those who are more well taken care of, the professionals, the higher earning MPs should not be given this kind of hike. I think that is a really good suggestion. Rahul Bajaj, quick last word from you.
2, 3, 4 points. One, I share the view, now forget today and tomorrow, but this doesn't sound nice that Parliament members decide their own salaries. There must be a third party. Behavior pattern is a different matter, I'll come to that. But salaries in future, it's been done now, right or wrong, okay, I'll come to that in a minute, should not be decided by the Parliament and Parliament members, but by a third commission like it is done for other people. It should be done within 6 months.
Change it now, Rahul Bajaj. Change it now. Why give the hike and change it? No, let's make the change now. Why can't we make the change now?
No, that's a matter of opinion. I think if legally that can be done, fine, and if legally it can't be done. You see, I love my democracy, Arnab, as I'm sure you and Sidhu Saab and the General Saab all love the democracy. But we all know for the last 63 years we are paying a big price for our democracy. Populism. For getting votes. In spite of all the garbat the government is doing, they are getting votes. Either a BJP-led government comes to power or a Congress-led government comes to power. So we get the government we deserve. And what I fully agree with also Abhishek, not only that third party must decide that, but the way this has been happening the last 10 days, I feel ashamed. As a former MP, I feel ashamed.
But we should,
after 2 p.m. in the afternoon, there is a very poor attendance in Lok Sabha. This time there were 400 people. Sorry?
Captain Sidhu, yes.
We are very well aware of the internal security of the country and external threats. Everybody is aware today. And why you are not bothered to look after your armed forces personnel? They are being shabbily treated. Even Supreme Court had said, don't treat your officers shabbily. 100% disabled officer, you know how much pension they gave it to me? 121 rupees in 80. And 32 years it took me to fight my case. Who are these people? And I won in High Court. They went to Supreme Court. I won in the Supreme Court, now they say we will go for review petition. What is this ridiculous nonsense? They want me to waste another 10 years.
I think a point has been strongly made. I think Captain Sidhu, you made your point really strongly today. And I think there is complete unanimity on one thing. You have to take care of everyone who serves the nation. Take care of everyone who serves the nation. And Dr. Singhvi, I think the request goes out from everyone today. 500% I think people will really, I don't know what the reactions will be. There's a strong reaction to this. It has to stop somewhere. You made some really good suggestions today, so has Rahul Bajaj. Thank you all, and thank you also General Shankar Prasad for joining me on my second News Hour debate tonight. Thank you so much. And coming up on the other side, there have been some threats to the Sikh community in the Kashmir Valley. Everyone's condemned it. But is that enough? And who's fueling it? Back in 2 minutes with our third News Hour debate tonight.